Saturn has 62 moons that come in different shapes and sizes. They also have different surfaces. They have been explored by space probes. Some of them have been hit by meteors, and they have many craters. Saturn's moons have been discovered in different ways. The first one discovered was Saturn's largest moon, Titan, discovered by Christian Huygens by using his refracting telescope. Tethys, Rhea, Dione, and Iaptis were discovered by Giovanni Domenico Cassini from 1671 to 1684. G.P. Bond, and William Lassell in 1848. Phoebe was discovered by W.H. Pickering in 1899. Most of Saturn's irregular moons were discovered by the Cassini spacecraft and the Voyager 1 probe from the late 1900s to the 2000s. Out of all the irregular moons, Mimas is the smallest and the least massive of them. Mimas is made shorter at the poles and longer at the equator by the effects of Saturn's gravity. It has a giant crater named after its discoverer, William Herschel. The crater makes up a third of Mimas itself. Enceladus, another of Saturn's moons, is geologically active today. The Cassini spacecraft found that Enceladus was unusually warm and that it is cut by a system of fractures astronomers call tiger stripes. Cassini also found that Enceladus has lots of geysers. There are 3 small moons between Mimas and Enceladus. Their names are Methone, Anthe, and Pallene, named after the Alcanides in Greek mythology, the daughters of the giant Alcyoneus. Tethys, another moon of Saturn, is not geologically active today, unlike Enceladus. It is made mainly of water, ice, and rock, and has an impact crater called Odysseus. Dione has intersecting sets of fractures which form what is called a wispy terrain. Dione has a higher density than Rhea, but is not as dense as the geologically active Enceladus. The Cassini spacecraft found that Dione is a net source of plasma in the magnetosphere of Saturn, like Enceladus. Dione and Tethys both have Trojan moons, moons that orbit them, a special feature only in the Saturn system. Rhea is the second largest moon of Saturn. When the Cassini spacecraft took a picture of Rhea, it showed that Rhea had a few equatorial rings. Rhea has a relatively young crater called Inktomi, or also known as the Splat. Titan, bigger than the planet Mercury, is the largest moon of Saturn. When the Huygens probe landed on Titan, the pictures that took showed that Titan has very few impact craters, which means that Titan is very young. They also showed that Titan has lakes of methane. The largest lake, Kraken Mare, is bigger than the Caspian Sea. Astronomers say that Titan looks like a young Earth, but instead of water raining down on young Earth, liquid methane probably rain on Titan. Hyperion is Titan's closest neighbor in the Saturn system and is smaller and lighter than Mimas. Hyperion is covered with lots of impact craters and it spins around Saturn chaotically. Iaptis is the 3rd largest moon of Saturn. The Cassini spacecraft found that Iaptis has an equatorial ridge 20 kilometers tall, which spans almost the moon's entire equator. There are more irregular moons of Saturn than regular moons. Irregular moons are not spheres. They are named after Greek, Inuit, Gallic, and Norse deities. The second largest, Ymir, is only a mere 18 kilometers in diameter. Phoebe is by far the largest irregular moon, and it is the most explored of the irregular moons. Saturn has many moons that all vary in size, shape, mass, and density. Maybe there might be discoveries happening about them. Maybe a new moon might just be discovered. When that happens, we will surely learn more about these impressive moons. I chose Saturn's moons as my topic because there are fascinating discoveries about them. I also chose them because of their variety of sizes. For example, Saturn's largest moons are the size of the planet Mercury, while the smallest moons of Saturn are only 1 kilometer across. I thought the facts of the landscapes of Saturn's moons were fascinating. The geysers of Enceladus remind me of watching a movie called Wing Migration because there's a scene that showed geese flying over geysers in a body of water. The chaotic orbit of Hyperion reminds me of a frisbee spinning because, like a frisbee, Hyperion spins around Saturn, although a frisbee does not revolve around Saturn. The immense size of Titan reminds me of Gulliver's Travels because in the book, Gulliver meets tiny people called Lilliputians, and Gulliver among them is like Titan among Saturn's other moons. The tiger stripes on Enceladus remind me of cracks on the sidewalk in front of my old house because when the Cassini spacecraft took a picture of Enceladus, that is what the tiger stripes look like from a bird's eye view. When we were walking behind the Marin Montessori School, I saw a ground squirrel swiftly running across the sidewalk, and it reminded me of Saturn's moon Titan. It did because there's evidence of life there, and squirrels might be one of the life forms on Titan. I think that if there's any life on Titan, astronomers have not found any life there because any life forms there may be too elusive for the Huygens probe to detect. When I looked at St. Vincent's through my orange clipboard, it reminded me of Titan's atmosphere. It did because when the Huygens probe landed on Titan, it found that the color of Titan's atmosphere is a mix of orange, tan, and yellow, and that was the color I saw when I looked through my clipboard. I learned that Hyperion zips around Saturn chaotically, unlike Saturn's other moons. I also learned that some of Saturn's moons are approximately the size of the planet Mercury, while some are only 1 kilometer in diameter. I also learned that astronomers call one of Rhea's craters the Splat. I've really enjoyed learning all about Saturn's moons.